welcome everybody to the Breachers VRML Season 2, Week 7. My name is Nightfire with 2 E's, and I'm joined by my propeller-hatted friend, Hairtaj. Hairtaj, how are we feeling this afternoon?
And it feels feeling good. You know, I barely escaped California weather, and you know now we come here and we got I'd say a pretty good match today. Aspect against Fusion. So
Yeah, pretty good. Maybe a bit of a understatement. This is number 2 versus number 3 NA. When we talk about teams that are in the top 10, we're talking about teams that are competing for a chance at that free ticket out to Denver, Colorado to play their finals live on stage. Aspect and Fusion are definitely 2 teams right up there right now at 2nd and 3rd, and teams that have a lot of eyes on them. Recent notable games coming in from Aspect, I believe, is a loss to Acer, as did Fusion. Both teams suffering at the hands of the number 1 team in the North American region. And it's interesting to see how they go up against each other and, you know, what sort of strategies they're going to be developing for ultimately the real, number 1 right now, at least, Acer, the sort of the peak of the mountain, if you can call it that. But both of these teams, I do think, Heritage are bringing the ability to compete against Acer. I think especially as we develop over this season, we really get, especially at the halfway mark, essentially, we get a good look at where these teams are developmental wise with today's matchup. So it's a really good kind of insight into what could be the future of VRMLCon 2024 later in July.
yeah, and heading into VRMLCon, obviously a lot of people do expect Acer to head into Denver, Colorado in the summers. But I think what we should kind of point out is, who is going to be that second team that might play Acer? Because over time, back in season 1, the field was a little bit less competitive, but now we've seen a lot of top players, a lot more notable players. They started to leave a lot of these well-known teams, and they started to build a lot more, and arguably some better rosters over time. And I think so. I think I would do want to talk about this. Fusion is literally a fusion of a couple of players that are from these top teams. They came into season 2, and then all of a sudden they're beating like a lot of these more common names.
Yep, absolutely. It does look like we are going to get ready to dive into the action here. As I've refreshed my name, apologies for that. And it is going to be map number 1 taking us to Arctic. And we are here ready to dive into round number 1 on Arctic. Aspect on the defense, Fusion on the attack. Heritage, this is again, like you said, kind of an exciting insight into, who is going to be that team that's going to be going up against us, or maybe a bit of a a morbid way to consider it if you're a team that's in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th place. Obviously they'll be hopeful when we get to that postseason time of some upsets potentially happening, and we certainly have seen a lot of upsets over the course of season 1's postseason, so who's to say it won't happen in season 2, but that's several weeks away, and it's certainly on the team's minds. Obviously they're competing for that higher seed and for the opportunity to be that 1 and 2 team flown out to Denver, but for now it is really about this game and ultimately trying to get 2nd place locked down. I think the winner here likely to come out number 2 off of the win.
Yeah, and a bit of an early exchange. Gizmo being able to find Jet in this first map. Yeah, as you were saying, a lot of these teams maybe just focus on the current map, but you kind of want to have this long run just be in good standing. So if you do in fact lose a couple of matches, you're still strong and you're still in that run to be able to safely qualify and be able to play in that postseason without having to go through that grueling bracket of that is the Challenger Cup.
Yeah, nobody wants to be down there in the Challenger Cup this season, but we did see some pretty big underdogs come out from it. Solo coming out from that trade just barely with a slice of health, but they will make it out. Big Lunch finds Ondog, down goes Nefario. And an early, solid, commanding round from Aspect with 4 left alive. They'll win their defensive pistol set I don't know that Arctic in particular lends itself as heavily to defense as other maps do. I feel like if anything, Arctic, being a later map in the sort of history of Breachers, has sort of a better bit of a balance to it. I feel like it's more of a 50-50 kind of map. So we'll see.
I think it's
really,
just that the map has been added for like a couple of months, and
true.
compared to post, I think it's it's a lot more newer than ship, but I'm pretty sure that's just been discovered to be a little bit more on that attacker side. But I think it's kind of in that same route that ship is, where it is a kind of a wacky map to play.
Yeah.
And then so that's why I think a lot of teams they'll just go for it, because most of the teams they don't have a kind of meta to build off of on Arctic, compared to something like Hideout, Factory, or what is that? Oh, Skyscraper.
Yeah, I do think. Again, I do. Hats off to the development team, for the quality of their map development. It makes me excited for the future maps. What could be thrown out there in future seasons. Even you got to consider all the potential shakeups that could be coming. It's exciting. I think there's a lot of length to the life of Breachers. We're only really kind of just getting into it. Just like Fuse are just diving in to the objective site here. Hatch open. They've lost one. A nade comes in there. I don't think that was intended, as a smoke flies out to disrupt the timing of the Fusion offense here. Big Lunch finds a trip mine kill, and we continue to see trip mines pay off big, even at the highest tier. It's a lesson to be learned if you're a new player watching. Those trip mines work well, even at the rank 2 and 3 NA.
Yeah, it makes the point that utility is such a key factor here. As you see Ondog trying to cross through, but with that static field, it's just stopping them. And Solo manages to find 3. So now it's down to Chosen One in a 1v4. Better options just maybe play a little bit outside, but it's still pistols from either side, so I think maybe trying to play a little bit more aggressive is just better.
Chosen gets outside, holds the window, and it's money that they're going to try and deny into the hands of Aspect. Maybe try and catch, like you said, Solo getting a little bit over-aggressive. Would be a net positive if they can just get a little bit more money into the pockets of the team. But for now, yeah, it is going to be a hold. We got a minute 30 on this clock. I don't know. Is the life worth saving versus maybe getting lucky and finding a kill or two?
Maybe just finding a kill, because you have 2 players on that side of Aspect that are under that 30 HP. But Chosen is on the Jesper, which I believe does around 20 damage on. I haven't done actual math, but I think the Juggle Peak might be there, but just whiffs the shot. Chosen is just gonna swing on in, so just backs off, knowing that it's just better to play a little bit more safe.
Doesn't need to give them extra money, especially if there's 4 left alive. Again, that's only 2 kills in 2 rounds. Not ideal for the Fusion offense. They should still have enough off of their eco and whatnot to full buy into this 3rd round coming up, but every little bit of cash does help, leads to additional utility potentially, and that obviously, as we've seen, can be pretty valuable. So with a static emitter pretty well placed, and you don't talk a lot about it, but these static emitters, it's the tactical placement of them is a lot. This is placed at the edge of the wall around the corner, so it's hard to reach. Makes it a little bit of a challenge to get rid of outside of a normally tossed static wall there, and so static flooring. So nice little extra detail there that ultimately right now is denying Chosen One from swinging in and planting, and like we were suspecting, Chosen One does hold on to their life for that round and gets a little bit aggressive just at the late stages, hoping to catch some players kind of off guard, but doesn't. And it is going to be now our first full buy round. So Fusion really going to put things to the test now. I do think they had, I don't know, rough starts.
A lot more,
in those first 2 rounds.
Maybe yeah, they're on they're on rifles.
Right.
I know a good amount of them are pretty good with Vezins, so pistol rounds are kind of a coin toss.
Yeah.
In a way, sometimes it could go your way.
Yeah.
Sometimes you could get phantom headshots, and it's just very frustrating to deal with. So going with Vezins, but knowing as well that Aspect also has that in their arsenal, and that extra ability, knowing that Aspect has that extra cash to go for some extra utility to buy time for Fusion to maybe try and rush in. It's just going to be a lot more difficult on that side of Fusion to try and maybe take around. They might be able to find a pick or two, but overall to try and take a site and take a round, that's going to take a lot more time.
Indeed it is. We'll see what their play is going into round number 3. Like we said, the full buy round. And really the first test for this squad on the Aspect, or excuse me, on the Fusion side. Also, probably the first test for Aspect. They've had 4 alive and been pretty loosey-goosey on their first 2 wins. I'd love to see maybe an early picks this time for Fusion. It's really what they need. They haven't found early picks in these rounds, and it's been a lot like that. We're faded. And Big Lunch getting aggressive here, find their first kill. Ondog goes down, trying to move in to A site. A pretty aggressive swing in, all things considered. A site right there, and they didn't have any support from the external windows or through that hallway, so maybe a little bit out of sync from the rest of the squad, but Fusion either way still has 3 sat up here ready to push in, and Aspect healthy, all 5 alive, ready and waiting.
Yeah, talking about it, it's going to tell, I told you it's going to buy a lot more time. You have all members of Fusion that have burned nearly a minute on that clock, and they barely just got in. Now that proximity alarm is going to tell this side of Aspect that they're going to start pushing in. You could see it with those wall bangs. Maybe just trying to find a single point of damage, maybe at least have a major impact on that push coming in from Fusion.
Solo, lucky they didn't get shot through the wall there, because like you said, lots of fire going through it, but they'll stay tucked into the corner and waiting. As the wall goes down, everyone stacks up outside of A site, and the defense is prepared. Solo is still playing it patient, faded, and I Blame watching this doorway together, and I Blame trying to catch a swing kill out as a nade toss comes in. That's botched, catches Solo. Does big damage to them, and that'll lead to Jet finding the kill. Faded gonna have to pick up the slack over the top, and they'll get tapped health, rotate off, and now I Blame reinforcing the same peak, making it difficult for this trio to get some footing, but they finally have found their way to the outside of A. Not even yet inside the A site to plant, but they are certainly close enough. And it's just wall bangs for now, as Chosen One does get caught out through the wall. They'll go down with no open hole and an immolation nade blocking their entry. They got to rotate off.
And no breaching foam to work with. I think the option is just opt for the save. You got to keep those Vezins in play. Otherwise, it is going to be a big problem heading into the next 2 rounds, as that's what the side of Fusion is going to do. And you can see how much utility has gone into effect. The side of Fusion didn't have breaching foam, so they were a lot more sided on just trying to focus on that door. And what ended up happening was they didn't have breaching foam. They focused on the wall, and since they realized that, they stalled for way too long, and that ended up costing Chosen his life, and ended up losing a third Vezin that could have been used into this 4th round.
They lost a Force Vezin there at the end there when they were kind of horsing around on the bottom floor. They got peeked out from the corner and one went down, so they only carried a 1 rifle through off of that round, and it could have been 2 if they were just a little bit more cautious. And, well, it's going to come down to the hero play for Ondog. 1v5 on the rifle setup. Everyone else going to be ecoing pistols and whatnot. It won't be until rounds 5 and 6 that they'll have the cash to work with, as is the standard meta economy process of the game of Breachers. And that is known well by these players. I mean, Hairtouch, these guys, again, have hundreds of hours playing this game. They're very familiar with the way to the way to execute on their economy. And it's, again, if you're new to the game, really pay attention to all their purchases, how they push through, because you really can learn a lot from these teams, from how much they've practiced, and ultimately the competition they've gone up against. You know, these are top squads in the North American region, teams that have to somehow get good enough to win against Acer, and that certainly is a challenging task. Not impossible, but challenging.
And they're going to be starting off with a bit of an interesting tactic, because usually on Arctic, a lot of teams, especially on this bomb site, they'll just try and hit this main blue storage. But I think it's to see I think it actually could end up working for them, as there is a full 4 stack on this store side. As you know, I believe Aspect is thinking that they're gonna try and hit this A bomb site. Meanwhile, the whole squad of Fusion is just on the other side, but I think that call might be going in a bit late, as Big Lunch is able to find Luna off the rip.
Good name.
Frag grenade toss to able to take out Big Lunch there for the trade, but at this point, Aspect knows.
Yeah, and that static emitter slows them down on their push in, just enough for Gizmo to push up. That's 2 rifles down, though. One in a Dr. Nefaro's hands and another over here on the corner. I do believe it got relocated. No, it hasn't. Still here on the floor, invaluable. Able to be scooped up by a Fuse opponent if they're fortunate enough. But for now, they're going to go through the smokes, look for more. They found 2 kills, and it's huge on their eco round, no less. They've got 2 rifles now, because one of them they carried through with is still alive. Now they picked up a third, or should pick up a third there on the floor from the Chosen One, and it should be 3 rifles healthy here on this objective defense. And yeah, there it is, scooped up off the ground. No, still on the ground there. Ondog will find a kill. Another by Ondog on the outside, and Fusion clutch a huge round. One they certainly had no right winning, but they do come out on top. I missed that double kill, unfortunately. I was waiting to see if they were going to pick up that third rifle or not, but either way, a big round from Fusion.
Yeah, and that fake did pay off, even though it was a little bit rough in that beginning, especially losing the Fario. But you know, that's, you know, when you have Vezins or, you know, great aim in this case, it really shows that you could still be able to achieve a lot. You know, especially, you know, a hero buy against a full stack of Vezins, and to do that's gonna hopefully boost the morality of Fusion.
Yeah.
Hopefully, maybe tie it up before we go into that second half.
I mean, it shows the value of utility in particular, right? That nade kill kicks everything off. It opens up the entry for them. They swing. They have 2 alive to swing that corner to find the second kill, and you know, it's utility, especially at this rank, really does feel like it's everything. If you can throw a good nade, which all 10 of these players can, then you're a dangerous threat no matter what you have in your hand as a weapon. And so it's I don't know, something that you always got to be cautious for at this high level. And well, there's a lot more utility picked up this time by Fusion, so I expect more nades and maybe some breaching foam to actually be in the hands of the attackers this time.
Yeah, breaching foam, this opens up a lot more opportunity. We're back on the same side where Chosen was shot through the wall, and you know, the failed save round. But now, since they have utility, they have a lot more options to play with. And yeah, as you said, this shows how much utility has such a major effect in this game compared to others. Because if you miss at least one, if you basically don't buy breach foam, you're guaranteed to lose a round if you're attacking. Yeah. And we can see utility on the side here. Nefaro was able to find solo. As I was about to say something about those proximity alarms, but no, utility really doesn't matter as long as you can shoot.
Yeah, and chaos unfolding here as Fusion find 2 early picks. The early picks meaning everything for their confidence and for their pace, ultimately, as they come flying in now. Much differently this time, they have a sight and foam to open it up, so they come swinging in. Gizmo goes down to a good pickup. Another one off the hole in the wall, and as the last one tries to fend off the entry, it's Fusion with 4 alive, coming back in this series after losing 3 rounds in a row. It just took them a bit of utility and some rifles into their hands to get comfortable here, Taj, but they are getting comfortable. This is dangerous for Aspect. As a matter of fact, it's a downright loss outside of hero picks coming from them, because they only have 1 rifle to their name against the fully kitted Fusion offense.
Yeah, against kitted offense, and I think this is one of the bomb sites where having a Vezin is kind of that crucial thing. Unless you're Gizmo and you hide behind doors, and you somehow manage to find 3 players with a Knut.
Yep.
I think that's one of the we've seen it. I think back in week 1.
Yes, we have seen some big Knut plays.
Me and you. This looks familiar.
It certainly does. I mean,
hopefully Fusion doesn't fall into the same trap that Acer did.
It's a good objective to take a Knut on if there ever was one, because again, you have a lot of these sharp corners on B, so if you do want to fly out and try and find some close quarters action, well, it could be in store for Gizmo. We'll have to see how Fusion enter. I'm sure they're going to be cautious, utilize their double drone, They've got double health syringe, all the utility in the world. 3 health syringes actually from surviving through that last round, and Luna already finding a kill on their poke through the opposite side of the objective there. Pretty nice little opener, and again another early pick for Fusion. And I think that's going to be the key to round wins, but we'll see if Aspect can find a few here.
Yeah, and the flashbang toss. Now Fusion are trying to make this attempt to push onto the site, but I'm pretty sure Joseph spotted Gizmo. Gizmo has to run away down to a slitter of health. Now Solo is forced to use that health syringe, where it's been used so early, and knowing the fact that later on, if Fusion do want to attempt this push, that's actually going to be on the other side of that A bomb, and they've made pretty good progress on it, as now they're going to be starting to see EMP plant.
Here comes Solo with the rifle in hand. They'll find 1 kill, and they're looking for more. A huge nade from Faded. Picks a double up on the EMP, and it's Ondog and Chosen One alone. On the retake, make it just Ondog. Aspect are back and are going to defuse this EMP. There's no hope for Ondog to get here in time, and it's a 4-2 half for them. They salvage a massive comeback. What is happening today, Heritage? That's 2 eco rounds won on both sides. But that one was extreme. That was a Knut and Pistols that come off of a win with ultimately a nade kill, and I think there was 1 Vezin. 1 Vezin and a nade double kill, and that's all you need. It's the utility, man. I can't believe it comes through.
Nightfire, I've always said this thing, Wacky Wednesdays, there's going to be some weird things. but today's Thursday.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
wait, hold on.
if we just skip the day. This stuff,
crazy.
Usually I've seen people flame, these lower tiers, but looking back, you can see that we could all be a little bit silly. I mean, and you're wearing do some weird things.
You got a propeller on your head, Heritage. Okay.
Yeah, that is true. I do have a propeller on.
It's hard to see, but it's there. If it's spun, okay, we can see it just a little. We can see it spin.
Maybe. Hey, post game.
Okay, all right, okay. We'll keep the people waiting. That's what you got to stick around for. Later in the stream, you'll see that propeller spin, and it'll be glorious. We'll see if Fusion can find wins here as Ondog gets aggressive, tries to catch Gizmo on the propel there, and ends up getting punished for it. Good comms from Gizmo lead to Solo picking up the scraps, and Aspect lead with an early kill, this time on the attack. They haven't had that early pick for what seems like maybe 3 or 4 rounds now, but they do have the player advantage. Now there's the nade tossed in, and Faded catches a kill off of the aggression from it. Another one scoops up, and we're into things here with a 2v5 already. The first minute not even done.
2v5. Good luck trying to defend this site, as Jess has to just hold this down with Nefarios. Nefarios actually able to find that trade, but now Aspect is just going to swarm all the way in. They're going to be able to get at least some of this plant. There is going to be a double swing from this side. Aspect, they're going to get this EMP plant, and this side of Aspect can know where Nefario is, and it's just going to be really tough to go, as Gizmo's going to just push into red and immediately take Nefario down, as it's going to be 5-2 for Aspect here.
2 away from locking in map number 1 out the gate. And what were the connoisseur votes here, Todd? If you can do some internet browsing for us real quick and find out what the votes were.
So some internet browsing.
Yeah, head on over to vrml.com where you can find all the information you need.
27 to 20. Okay, this is a big surprise. Fusion, I believe, if my monitor is actually saying this, 53 connoisseur for Fusion.
Okay.
And then on the side of Aspect, a lot of people didn't have hopes. 27 voted for Aspect, which is a big surprise looking into this Arctic map.
It's what's fresh in people's mind. I think Aspect had a tough loss against Acer as their last casted match, but since then I think they've had a tie and 2 wins. And so they're definitely playing well here in these later weeks, and that's why I wanted to tune into this sort of midweek, mid-season match to really see where these top teams are at. And right now, Aspect looks very good, coordinated, in sync. They're finding early picks. They're countering that bit of aggression that Fusion's trying to throw at them, and we'll see if that continues to be the trend here, as it is a big partial buy. This is a full buy actually from Fusion into SMGs.
Yeah, it is a very bold call, especially if you go into this next round. Actually, pretty sure you do. I think it's a very big risk coming in for Fusion because they know they're going to be on that map point. And if I actually do not know why they've attempted this. Maybe to get at least some type of advantage, maybe to extend the rounds.
Oh, Dr. Nefario almost botching that nade, but follows it up with another beautiful toss right on his Solo's toes. They got no toes left now. It's, I was going to say, yeah, Solo, no. That's all I got. Anyway, the push coming in here as Fusion back off and Aspect into a 4v4.
Yeah, 4v4. Now the side of Aspect, they've made some pretty good progress onto this map. As now all of Fusion is just stuck on this B bomb site. Now as long as they're just able to isolate these positions, and if they realize this, they could just maybe just go as Aspect could just go for the swing.
Walls are opening up, making things a little bit more difficult, and out comes Fusion trying to get aggressive with their SMGs. They'll find several kills that put them into a 2v2. Chosen One with a pistol in hand doesn't pick up the weapon off of their opponent. Big Lunge finds Dr. Nefario on the other side, and we're left with just a pistol versus two fully kitted Aspect attackers. EMP in their hand, and the Chosen One. They certainly are the Chosen One here. For Fusion, they need to find the double.
Yeah, they just gotta go for this. I believe
so many guns on the floor to pick up.
Yeah, pick your poison.
Yep. Oh, and maybe the distraction of trying to pick their poison ends in their demise. Big Lunge finds a great shot through the fireplace there, and it's 1 point away for Aspect locking in map 1. And this is, of course, our first map. If you're just tuning in, you haven't missed too much of the series, although maybe you have. This could be the halfway point at this stage. If Aspect have anything to say about it, they'll be looking for the series off of map number 2 coming up after this. But there's still hope for Fusion. They can still put 4 rounds in a row on the board and tie this first map, pushing us to a 3-map decider. I don't know, though, here, Taj. Look at the loadouts. It's not looking promising with 1 Vezin, 2 Cadillos, and 2 Canuts. It's, I mean, hey, we've seen 5 pistols beat 5 Vezins today already, so I don't really know what's going to happen. But it's not exactly meta competitive, you know, for just bare.
It kind of breaks this uncommon rule in Breachers. If you can't buy a Vezin, or if you're on, I mean, it does make sense. They're on a force, and you know, Cadillo,
oh yeah, they are on a force,
get buffed.
Right. Yeah, well, we'll see if it's buff enough to help him out defend for the map. As the drone work starts to come in, bottom floor open, and very little picked up there by Big Lunge. The drone barely even made its way through the hole in the wall and was instantly shot down. So with Jet being aggressive here, they can do that again. To really be able to deny any sort of vision into this defense. As the nade comes out and over, tries to go through the hatch, almost catches Gizmo. If it had just been a touch to the left, they would have gone down, but that's the challenge of throwing nades. Not an easy thing to toss accurately. They make it look easy, don't they?
Yeah, those nades are something. You know, it's kind of the equivalent to trying to hit a Major League Baseball. So now Ondog's able to take down iBlame, but look at the way that Aspect are currently formatted. They have 2 outside of this blue storage, as now the rest of the members are going to drop in, but they're going to drop into their death as Jet's able to find Faded, but immediately traded out. Down to a 3v3.
Luna.
It's now Fusion have 2 Vezins, so they got kind of an advantage
the Canut
on that defense. The Canut is actually able to find Big Lunge.
Double.
That's going to find 2. It's all down to Solo into a 1v3. Here you get peek, and that's 1. Solo just has to find 2 more. Force this map close. They know where they're. Chosen looks at the wrong spot. It's a 1v1. No healing syringe on Luna. Now this 1v3 can actually happen.
a huge clutch for Solo right now. They don't have EMP, so planting and forcing that defuse, not in the cards at the moment. They need to rotate for that to happen. And I gotta wonder if Luna knows the EMP's down there. Yeah, oh yeah, it got pinged. And they just got a health syringe now, so they're healing. And all they have to do is hold down the EMP. They know that Solo has to push for it, but Luna has rotated off now, giving an opportunity for Solo to do a little bit of a ring around the Rosie and get themselves over to this EMP. And we really are just chasing each other in a circle right now at this stage. As Solo's going to pick this up and have 30 seconds to plant at A site.
Yeah, but the moment Solo goes for it, it just gives Luna this opportunity to go for
B.
it. But this could be timing. It won't.
What? Is Luna going back to A? Solo plants. It's heard.
B plant. Oh, that's it. We're still in this, folks.
We are still in this. I'm surprised Luna even gave it as much time as they did, because they could have planted and gotten extra cash into the pockets for Aspect. Not that they necessarily needed it, because they still have plenty to full buy here. But yeah, it's.
I can't imagine Aspect just VOD reviewing, and then they just see like Luna just staring at Solo for like a good like 5 seconds.
Yeah, that was. I think it was 2, but it felt like 10.
It feels like eternity when you're planning, so.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Either way, a fantastic attempt from Aspect on the comeback there, but Fusion able to stay in, and let's see what they can do again. A partial buy for them, not able to buy into this round even because they lost their consecutive loss bonus off of a win, and they had spent all their money that last round with those unconventional buys. That, I guess, did pay off, Heritage. You know, what do we know? But
maybe they know things that we don't.
I mean, I think at this high of a skill level, it just comes down to execution, and these guys are skilled with almost anything, even with the pistols in their hands. It's only 2 or 3 headshots, and when you can hit all of your headshots, that's only 2 or 3 bullets you need to hit. So it's at the high level, it's why I think I love watching it so much, because you really get to see players that are super good play at a very high level, and these are 2 teams that are very good. They're hitting a lot of those really good shots, big double kills, huge nade tosses, the smoke coming in there. It's not going to quite go where they need it to, and Luna's going to get punished for it.
And nade, see Luna trying to toss a nade, but not when you lose this much players. But there's going to be a flank coming in from Ondog. Ondog somehow stays alive, as Jett is finally able to get that pick. But look, the fake actually ended up working. They plan on B. It's a forced post plant, and now it's a required retake for the side of Fusion.
I haven't seen that well of a times 3-2 split in a minute. They put all of their breaches over onto A, and while we were so focused watching it all, they push into the backside and gain control over site. Getting quickly picked away from them, though, down to a 1v1, and Gizmo clutches it up for Aspect. What a fight from Fusion, though. It feels like they're coming alive there at the end, but not alive enough. It will be, again, a Aspect win, but maybe map 2 is going to be a little bit different here, Todd.
Yeah, and hopefully map 2... Fusion are just able to step up. Those map 1 jitters, hopefully they've shaken off.
Yep.
Maybe Fusion could be a lot more confident now. But yeah, especially losing map 1, it could be a little bit gut taking on your mental.
Yeah.
So I think Fusion right now just needs to reset. Obviously 3 rounds it's a little bit rough compared to getting like a 7-4 or 7-5, but hopefully Fusion could just reset, and hopefully they're able to get a map that works in their favor.
They had a good last round there, though, so even the one that they lost, it's 2 or 3 good rounds there towards the end. So maybe the momentum will start to go in their favor, but I'm curious where we get taken to for map number 2. What do the stats sort of tell us, because Arctic picked now, and I think, gosh, I wish I knew what the ban was, because if I had to guess, I would say Fusion would want to go someplace comfortable, but I don't know that it's there.
I think they would have left. I think they probably would have banned Hideout. Actually, I mean, if you want to look at overall statistics, I think they would ban Hideout because it is their worst played map out of everything they've played.
Right.
You know, 50% win percentage and 56 in terms of rounds.
Right.
As you know, that second map going to be Factory. As we look at the overall stats, you know, Fusion having a 68% compared to, I believe, the side of Aspect, where it is, I think, a little bit worse on their end. If I'm looking at this right, Factory on the side of Aspect being 62%.
Yep.
Yep. But overall, the stats do look a little bit better for Fusion.
Yeah, they do, and I mean, you look at their record; it's 5-1-1. You would not be blamed for putting your votes into the Fusion pool this afternoon on the website, and quite frankly, a lot of people did. But right now, they are not in control. Aspect came out strong in the early rounds with those pistol wins, and I think that kind of set the tone. And Fusion had a hard time bouncing back from that. They nearly had a 3-3 first half. I think a 3-3 first half, we have a very different map, obviously, than we do right now. But the 4-2 sets up Aspect with enough bouncing room, enough comfort to work with. And now we wait for Fusion to maybe bring in a alternate fifth. Not quite sure, but we are waiting on a fifth to jump in here. And I do think that's a sub, isn't it? Yeah, Tog was not on. They had Baptiste, who went, yeah, they're subbing out their least hot shooter, 0-7 on that last map. And they're bringing in Tog for them and for map number 2. And maybe that'll be what Fusion need to kind of tip the scales a little bit. That's the benefit.
Wait, hold on. I just looked at the scoreboard. 0-7.
Do I have my...
Am I actually looking at that? Actually happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's reading as Baptiste, who's a bot. So I guess to the point where whoever had that record.
I think it was. I'm looking at the.
No, spare him. We don't need to tell.
For the sake of the players, yeah. I think it's better we just don't say it. The bot's already gonna be here.
Either way,
they're already there.
It's.
I think it's better we just keep them. Right now, we just don't put them under any fire. You know.
The point is that it's beneficial to have that extra player in your roster when you do have a cold shooter on your team, when you do need to bring in someone with a fresh perspective, someone with some fresh energy, especially after coming off of a loss. And so it makes sense. It's, again, the value of having deeper than 5 on the roster. And when you're even at the top, especially when you're at the top, it really kind of shows itself in moments like this. And we are now ready with Tog coming in to fill the 5th slot for Fusion. And we'll see what they can do on our second map of the afternoon on Factory. Another big pistol round coming in here as we're 20 seconds out from the first round of map 2. If you are just tuning in, well, you're here just in time for, I think it's going to be a pretty exciting second map here on Factory.
Yeah, a pretty good second map. Hopefully a good second map where it could be at least a 7-5. Hopefully we do go the distance. So right now we start off with that bottom floor bomb site. So now we can see the side of Aspect trying to maybe hit this orange side. The drone in actually not going to be able to get a good amount of intel as Luna's going to stop that immediately. See a couple of baits being thrown, but the side of Aspect are not budging to respond.
It's a very aggressive defensive setup for Fusion. They're taking up an angle on the doorway and the window outside of B. Oftentimes you'll see some nades utility come in here and do some good damage to defenders that are in there, but none have been hit or thrown by Aspect just yet, and there's the trip mine coming out. Dr. Nefario finding a nade connection as well. Finally a kill for Aspect, but after 3 are down, look at how confident Fusion are. Everyone committing to pushing forward on the pistol round, trying to find the final kills. As I blame my aims alone, finds 1, not 2. And man, Fusion went crazy at the end there.
This is the future that hopefully will keep going into this map, and keeping 3 alive.
Yep.
Actually, is a great sign. And now, I think we might see a half buy coming in from this side of Fusion, unless, well, hopefully Ondog fully commits to that. But Aspect are going to be still going for that second pistol round, as a lot of teams do.
Yep.
But this is a better showing. They're able to just have that confidence to go in, and especially those 2 kills inside of storage, especially with that I believe it was either or the grenade or a pistol. I know there was a trip mine. They tried to shoot the trip mine, but they've missed by just a hair.
Man, it's that's the second kill in this series so far for trip mines. And I mean, hey, I feel like they're maybe a little bit undervalued in like the mid tier. Players don't tend to lean into them very much, but they got some high tier value as we're seeing it on display here this afternoon. And I mean, hey, it's hard to check all. It feels like, I don't know about you, but I feel like every day I'm seeing a new trip mine placement, somewhere new to tuck it into or to deceive your opponent.
I mean, these players are finding some very, very odd angles that I could just look at and say, there was no way this was supposed to be intended.
Yeah, well, it's creative use of the utility pieces, and it certainly is finding itself some success so far today. Solo catches Ondog on that upper floor, I think. Yeah, Ondog getting aggressive there at the cost of a bit of their health. They'll have control of A site.
And actually, this is a very off angle to just die in, especially since the bomb site is very, very far. I think Solo is just pushing in. Yeah, it is very far. Solo trying to push through, but they've made, the side of Aspect made some decent coverage. They're able to get that top orange, where now they're just able to cut off a couple of angles where the side of Fusion are just able to push. They kind of lost it. There's I Blame somehow manages to find Luna. Now they're going to set up that breaching foam. That's going to open up that extra wall to have an angle on Smoke top, trying to block that site. But especially, I think the side of Aspect, they're going to start to plant.
Nefario does push out there to catch Gizmo through the window, but as they drop off of site, it opens it up for Aspect to get some control. The SMG picked up by I Blame, and now suddenly a threat to the defense as Nefario is getting shot through the wall by Solo on the backside. Tog swings out and comes alive on their first round of the afternoon and finds a kill on Defaded as I Blame pushes through server and won't catch Tog. Tog's going to be reinforcing now, maybe able to surprise Solo. EMP's still not planted, 50 seconds on the clock, and we've come to a bit of a slowdown on this action.
And I don't think Fader should have just ran through. Those trip bars were there, and you said those trip bars are still useful in these high levels of breachers. Trying to run through. Not sure if it was a good call, but still 2v3. EMP is planted towards the box side, so it is going to be very tough for Fusion to try and regain this site. See Nefario being taken down by Solo as Taki was immediately spotted. Tries to stick it, but big lunge from above of that hatch, shutting down Tog and giving them the first round here on Hideout.
Right back into things off of a good solid pistol set for them and a EMP plant. Cash into their pockets, and ultimately everyone pretty well off on the economy for our full buy round into round 3. It really is a even full buy round 2, it feels like, with utility getting scooped up. We're seeing the trip mines there by Tog. They've got 2 in their hand, and they'll be tucking those away for deployment on any quick sort of push into a site. The goal being to at least slow down your opponent and forcing them to shoot them down before they come flying in to the A site. But we'll see if that does get checked or not. It is still, though, going to be a full kit set here. I mean, there's going to be plenty of nades getting flown around here in this next round.
Yeah, a couple nades. Now a full utility coming from the side of Aspect. It's going to be in play, and if you have full utility, we can expect this round to be in a world of hurt. Speaking of world of hurt, a double peak, interesting tactic coming in from Fusion to just spam that window, having two people there. So that's something you don't see. Usually that window will just be shot by one person and just back off. But having two people, maybe as that reinforcement that's baited, it's just gonna swing in with that drone. Drone able to spot Luna. It's gonna be a full pre-fire game. See who gets caught first. But that drone has made some very good progress trying to find some pieces of intel, knowing that there's only one on B.
You got a lot of details there, but they did miss out on the one detail, the flank threat of Ondog, who slowly crawled up from the stairs. And as they open up A, they may be feeling a touch overconfident. Shots coming in through sight. Ondog still here on the corner as Faded gets half their health chipped away. They'll quickly heal it back up, and we shift our attention around and around. A site entry here in a threat. Two nades coming in from both sides. Both good tosses, neither finding anyone. And it's a real pause. Those trip mines still there. Still a threat if they do want to try and push in through that hole in the wall at A. And Luna still close. EMP tossed to Faded, and they're planting.
Yeah, and plant there. And it does get stopped by Tog, who actually manages to find two. 1v3 all down to Big Lunch. Good luck trying to clutch this. They have that EMP. They know where it is. They're just going to start to set up for it.
Yeah, it's a defensive round for Fusion. Now back to them being defensive, I suppose, as they're now holding down that EMP on the wall. It gets pinged. And like you said, they definitely know it's there on the wall. And it's going to be super hard, even to bait out, because Nefario can swing the short corner. Tog's tucked in for a very late peak. Ondog's just now dropping off an angle that would have led to either their death or a potential kill. But what does Big Lunch do? They have to clear out this entire space, essentially. And they got a minute to do it, so they have time.
Now, I want to know if Big Lunch has the read to maybe know that Tog's there.
Oh.
But especially getting Nefario, and I think if he keeping his back turned, Tog is just standing there.
Oh, no, I mean,
stepping by the box.
They're waiting for that EMP noise.
That,
you know what I mean? They're not going to peek
This
up
is an
until they
insane
see it.
bait. I'm saying this is some insane baiting.
Is Ondog going to be ready for the rotation from Big Lunch here is the big question. Because
No, I think Ondog has the read.
The trip mine's still there.
Yeah, that's a read. That might be the read.
No, they couldn't get through the trip mines. They're MVPs. They come in and force Ondog to have to try and, or excuse me, who was that? Big Lunch to try and swing in, detonate the trip mines, and then push in, but it gives Ondog the ability to see them. They find the kill, and, well, another round into Fusion's hands, and they continue to maintain the lead, but it's a back and forth set here. And I don't know that Factory is one that you really want to have go more than really one round of the offense. 2 rounds, I suppose. It's not as bad as Skyscraper, really, so 2 rounds is still okay. It's not too hard to get 2 rounds on the offensive set, but it does come down to ultimately where the objectives are placed. And we're going now down to a middle objective again, which I don't think went well for Fusion on their last round. So now with well, now they've got the full kit, though, and Aspect are hurting on their economy, so an eco round coming in from them means what, Heritage? I don't know. I suppose maybe Aspect.
Round from them. Maybe they
knows?
Just want to. I think they just want to invest into round 5, maybe just damage that economy so that Fusion are gonna be on a really rough force heading into the into round 6. But,
yeah, we'll see.
Essentially, this quote unquote could be a throwaway round.
Yeah.
But we've seen what happened on Arctic. We've seen that 5 pistols have beaten rifles. So hopefully, you know, for the sake of content, we do see that happen. But I think in overall statistics, I think it's just better for Fusion.
Yeah, they definitely got the advantage here this round. They've got the utility up. Door blockers, static emitters, and rifles in their hands. It's not going to be an easy one for this Aspect offense. And they're really kind of all over the place. Ondog is way out here still in the garage for some. You know, it's very rare to see a defender need to commit this far out onto this flank side, but maybe it'll net them a kill as Gizmo does open up the roof.
Yeah, this could be timing. Usually it is. like you'll usually see a lot of players, and especially I think in those mid-tier levels, those mid-tier teams still find it. As Nefario manages to find two side of that meeting room. Now that push is fully staggered. You have players that are very, very far from each other on different floors, and it's just going to be very, very difficult to try and take.
It's a very split aspect offense, and I guess maybe that's just again their goal. They're trying to get lucky, find some kills, kind of spreading around, poking and prodding in different spots. But yeah, 3v4. They got one, but it's one that was down inside the objective space, so that rifle's not going to get picked up. And so Aspect definitely got a tall order still left ahead of them. 3v4, and a minute left on the clock. EMP is in Faded's hands, and so maybe they'll make something happen, or maybe not, as the position given away by that audio transmitter.
Yeah, good luck. Now, I'm surprised they kind of let it stall for that long. Especially, I think they know they're down on players, they're down levels, but I think they are gonna still try and commit to this bit. You see Big Lunch and Faded pushing down that orange stairs. Nefario at least going to be that first line of sight, able to find one. Gizmo on that other side, able to find Jet. But Big Lunch is gonna swing through, maybe find one, but ends up sure as Nefario does get that second kill. It's gonna be 3-1 for Fusion.
Man, they are really coming back nicely here on this second map, and 3-1 is solid, but it's not the end of the road by any means. Now we're getting the full buy from Aspect. If they win here and carry any of their... Really, they need to win here and carry their weapons through. If they win here and don't, they're not going to have a very good economy. And so that last final round, that sixth round, is going to be tough. And so this one, they really need to come in and lock in without losing. I mean, maybe two, or they can afford to lose two at the end of the day, but no, they only got one player that will come out with enough money off of a win to buy a rifle. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to come down to this one being very good for Aspect if they want to come out with a 3-3 first half. Otherwise, I do think Fusion is in control. They are certainly, again, looking good. They've gotten the momentum back into their favor. And it's just a matter of time now, I suppose, as round 5 kicking off. We're back to the bottom floor.
Yeah, bottom floor. And last time we've been on this bottom site, it is heavily favored in Fusion's side, having 3 players alive and just an overall really confident side. As we're gonna see a bit of aggression coming in from OnDog. He always does this tactic to just maybe play as bait, just be that off-angle guys, you know, being that extra mental barrier, knowing that Aspect could be thinking, we have to watch this guy for flank, otherwise it's going to be a big problem. As on the other side, where that main focus point is, Solo is just able to find Jet, but now the Wobblings are starting to go through. They're able to make their way into storage, but they need to continue their way through.
That's a rifle into the hands. I don't think they need that rifle just yet, as Nefario finds a good connection through the wall, beating that nade toss and timing up their shots through it to connect with that kill. Solid job there. That puts things back into a 4v3 as iBlame finds Tog on that backside, and the B site seems to be the play here from Aspect. EMP, and there's that foam as Luna is close. Static emitter kind of denying them a standard plant spot. And I gotta wonder what iBlame's plan is as OnDog finds another.
That flank is detrimental. I'm not sure what happened if they try to find something. I'm not sure where to kill. Oh, I think they're actually outside, so it could be a flank kill. Not sure what is on the other side of servers, but the push on A as actually a team kill with that frag grenade stops the push, and now somehow, and I thought Aspect had the B side controlled, it's actually Fusion that has it in control.
Oh, Gizmo.
That's gonna sting.
Has to vault out Aspect. I mean, I think you carry to. You have to try and win this round. It's your best chance, honestly, right now, to get your second point. Next round's going to be worse, and OnDog catches Gizmo on the rotation. It'll lead to their death, though, as Big Lunch capitalizes on them pillaging the body of their opponent. And now the push, opening things up. The pings onto Nefario, and they don't matter It's Nefario winning the trade onto the corner. And, man, Aspect are hurting. I mean, actually, they'll have a consecutive loss bonus, so I think they'll be able to full buy here into this last round. No, they can't.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that hurts.
Just a couple off.
Wow.
200 off. That's like, dude, I think that's just one kill and you're fine.
Yeah, it is.
But
it is.
It's gonna hurt. Because now you're already gonna be at 5-1. Hopefully I don't jinx it to the point where I accidentally curse them.
The 5-1 curse is so real.
The 5-1 curse,
like in this game, you know, it's gonna be the hardest to get those final 2 points. And I mean, we're seeing how hard it is here for Aspect to get 2 points. Fusion are gonna have a challenge themselves when it comes for their turn to attack. Aspect, I think, will put up a solid defensive set as well.
Yeah, hopefully, just Aspect, just maybe reset, knowing that you know, that first half didn't go their way. They have a whole minute to just recollect their thoughts, and just explain what they're gonna do, how to execute it as a team. This right now, they're gonna try and commit onto this A. They're gonna try and focus on this hatch first. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah, that early pick is not what you need on the Aspect side of things to get things rolling. And Fusion looking to really run away with map 2, much like Aspect did on map 1. It leads me to wonder what map 3 is going to have for us, but we're not quite there yet. It is certainly looking good for the Fusion team, but Aspect fought well in map 1, and I don't know, they're finding kills here in map 2, but just not enough to really get them the kits they need. There's a nice pickup from Jet that puts Aspect down to now just 3, and Fusion looking to take this first half 5-1.
They're gonna happily close this out. They still have players standing. Luna still alive. Ondog still alive. And it's down to iBlame, who can't even defend on his own. And it's 5-1. And it's perfectly flawless round 6 for the side of Fusion. Now we swap sides.
A little celebratory dancing from Aspect as a team as they, I think, all survived there on that final round. And, yeah, swap sides, reset economy, and we see what Fusion can do on the middle floor for our first round of for the pistol round, no less. This will be a very interesting one. You kind of need, or often see at least, a lot of utility go into breaking into these objectives, and you're not going to have a lot of utility in the first round. Or at least you're not going to want to invest too big into all the utility you would necessarily need. And it is, what do we got? Fusion with 2, breaching foam and, no, 2 nades and 1 breaching foam. Interesting. So they are investing into some, that should be enough. That opens up the hatch for a nade toss into server room and the wall for a nade toss to the back of A site. So I do wonder if that's going to be the play. They're going to take their time, though.
I think they might opt to go server. You know, looking at how... how do they keep... I don't know what's with these early picks.
Yeah. I didn't even catch that one.
I mean, Ondog did get a taste of his own medicine with that early pick. Say that is Aspect going, yeah, you could do that to us, but we'll make sure that it'll bite back.
Comes the hatch opening up, but this time onto the B site, not A.
I hear a flashbang.
Yeah, there is utility still left on both sides, as Jet identifies pretty much perfectly where those bullets were coming from based off their trajectory. You can see them pointing through where they think they are through the wall. They almost pointed right at Big Lunch. That's good game knowledge. You know, you understand spots and preferences, and with those bullets coming from that angle, you can kind of get the read there. Luna finding iBlame puts things into a 4v4, and they finally get rid of that aggressive flanker. And now Luna's trying to do some more damage on the backside, the solo there, but Garage is kind of tough to take on your own.
Garage is a little bit more difficult. Luna does have that EMP, so if they do make progress, they're gonna coordinate with Luna. They know that even if that push doesn't work, they still have that EMP available, rather than just fully giving up the EMP to the side of Fusion. So smoke's gonna be tossed from Fusion. Luna taking a big chunk of damage. Well, Shed, they're going to be dropping down. Target and Faro find two. Going to be a full take coming in, but Gizmo's able to find Tog. Big one pushes through and cannot find him. It's just down to Gizmo in a 1v2.
A 1v2. I felt like that was a 1v4, but somehow they find a couple of kills, a couple of trades, and Gizmo actually feels like they're in the advantage here with full health, going up against a 50 HP Nefario and a 30 HP Luna. Just a couple of connections from really one clip, and they could find both of the defenders here now. As Fusion have gotten the EMP plant, Gizmo finds one, baits out the rotation, sticks one click, sticks two. Luna has to peek, and they time it nicely. Find the connection there, and Fusion are one away, picking up a huge pistol round on a huge EMP clutch plant. And it feels like we're headed to a third map, but they still got to lock this next one in, and they are full buying for it.
Yeah, they'll gladly close this round out. So now the side of Aspect, they immediately have to force, and especially a second round force, it's grueling.
Yeah.
Knowing that you could, if you had just at least one round, you could have went with a full Vezin, but I think they're just either opting for, I believe, more utility, in a sense. But I think the discussions are still being explained of how they're gonna try and approach this near final round. As Fuse are be at a little bit of a, they're at one of the biggest advantages, especially here on this map, where they're fully kitted, and it's very difficult to try and take the Vezins away.
I mean, we got to consider what's on the line here. I mean, this is the midpoint of the season, really, but it's still competing for that top seed, so that when you go into the postseason, you have the easiest time you can at it, so that you can be one of the two teams that gets flown out to Denver, Colorado to play your finals live on stage at VRML in July. It is an incredibly hype season, as that sort of is the mega culmination this year for the NA side, and we're really happy that we're able to do that. You can buy tickets right now. Go to vrml.com/vrmlcon. We'll talk more about that after the action unfolds, as windows are broken and Fusion again looking for the final round to lock in a map win, push us to that map 3 decider.
This iBlame is able to find Luna. That's at least one of the Vezins, but it's immediately gonna get picked up. Tog able to find iBlame, maybe catch one off guard, especially on that second floor. But that is a big portion of the map. Now the side of Fusion, they have orange, and it is just difficult to maybe just hold your position with just Spectral.
Yeah, for sure, especially against a fully kitted Fusion offense with wall foam here, breaching foam, Vezins, Ondog finding kills, Solo with another one on the backside, but is it going to be enough is the big question. EMP planted, and it's a 3v2. Faded has full HP, Solo does not, and Faded has an SMG in their hand, but oof, this is going to be a tough retake.
And good luck. The retake's going to be difficult, but that is, if you can't even make the retake, as it's down to one, just Faded with that Omen. Dog knows where Faded is, and that's the peak, that's the map. So now we are going to that third, a better showing of Fusion rather than that disappointing 7-2 Arctic.
Yeah, no kidding.
Now, this could be anyone's game. Hopefully not one-sided.
A huge momentum swing, to say the least, as they take map number 2, 7-1. Where do we go from here, as map 3 is going to be the decider for this series? I got to wonder if Ship is on the table this afternoon, because it is one of the preferred maps for the Fusion team. And if they want to kind of run with this momentum, Ship is going to be their best chance at continuing with that momentum. But I think it's Aspect's pick. I don't quite know who was home and who had that first map pick. Maybe it's details like that we should have teams relate to us. But either way, a exciting map 3 decider coming up here. And while we wait for these players, as I don't know that we're going.
I think it's VRML's favorite time. Let's talk about how is Breaches VRML possible, Nightfire?
Oh, it's possible by all our fantastic sponsors. Then the main one being Triangle Factory, coming in and supporting us. You'll see some new in-game banners up soon enough that they've been helpful in collaborating with us on, and we're excited to be promoting the YouTube channel and obviously VRMLCon this year. It's a lot of hype, and it's all powered by Triangle Factory. They support the VRML and are providing the funding for us to fly out those top 2 teams so that they can play their finals live on stage at VRMLCon in 2024. It's not just them too. We have 4 total seasons culminating in their finals on that stage, and so there's going to be a ton of VR shooter communities out there attending and hanging out. We're going to have demo booths, a Pavlov booth. There's going to be all sorts of stuff out there that you're going to want to get your hands on, and keep the eyes peeled for announcements for when they come out, because you're not going to want to miss out when we announce new sponsors and new stuff to do, because it's going to be a full venue. It's really awesome. It's more details to come, but for now you can buy your tickets and get all the info you need at vrml.com/vrmlcon. That's where you can buy your tickets and everything. And again, a shout out to Triangle Factory for making that a possibility. They've been a fantastic supporter in us doing the VRML. We're also sponsored by several other sponsors, one of which is Helga, the esports bot manager. You can actually get your free version of Helga right now. I have to remember the code, which is... oh, I had it. There it is, VRML 2024 OKF in all caps. You enter that code and you join the Discord, you will be able to get your free version of Helga, the esports bot manager. That's only available to those that use that code, and it'll help you organize and sort and schedule all your games. There's a premium version you can sign up for that offers all kinds of cool statistic analysis that'll help you dive into your team stats and all that stuff. So please do go check them out. We'll get into more sponsors in just a moment here in between our next few rounds in map 3, because we are getting ready to dive into map 3, and it is going to take us to ship. Here we are. Taj.
I mean, you did call ship. I think you said, "Hey, ship was going to be played," and I believe this is Acer's first time on ship.
Acer.
No,
Aspect.
wait, whoa, what? Aspect. You know, they got.
They got A's
I just see the A. I see the
no,
A's,
no.
and I just assume it's like Infinity and Eternity, but one of them's at the top.
Yeah.
So.
Oh gosh. Yeah. If I have to. I think I casted one game where they were both. Yeah, there's no way. It's impossible to remember. But either way, it is Aspect, and I don't know their first maybe this season. I think our stats are showing that they do have some stats here on ship, and it's not terrible, but it's not 70% that Fusion have right now, and it feels like Fusion coming in with a little bit of that map advantage. We'll see if that is the case, though. Ship. A great equalizer, I feel like, Heritage, so it could very well be a chance for Aspect to get back into the game here.
And Aspect, just maybe a full reset. I hope they're just able to recreate what Fusion did. Maybe it could be a little bit more closer this time, because they both have a map, but never mind. Lefario with a beautiful toss, able to find Solo off the rip in the green engine. Now that's one less attacker and one less defender. Skizzo's able to find Jet and able to find a second. Still, but on the slitter, just gonna back off. Big Watch able to sub in. It's just a 4v2. Luna gonna be pushing through that red room and just unable to find one.
Oh, and now Luna alone as their entire team picked apart. I Blame waiting for the vault. They'll swing with full HP and come out on top for Aspect's first round, and I think maybe 5 or 6 rounds. They did not pick up very many points on map. I mean, they only got 1 point on map 2, and I think it was early in the series. So good for them to get back onto the board here, and on a pistol set no less, and on ship no less. It certainly has a lot of value to it, and a decent investment off of that win into the second round. Heritage. It's not often you see 2 rifles going into the defense.
Yeah, I think maybe Aspect are feeling a lot more confident. I was second guessing myself if I actually said it properly. So now, Aspect, going to this, but yeah, they're fully confident now. They're just gonna go into this half buy. I think, hopefully, I'm pretty sure Fusion is still calling out what to do. But from what it looks like, I really hope I'm looking at this, and it's not for memes, but still going a full 5 Jespers.
Oh yeah, yeah, they are really holding on to their cash, and I mean, they don't want. I think what happened, or was close to happening last map where they got. I think it was later in the series, but they didn't have enough. They needed 1 or 2 kills to be able to buy, and they couldn't. So maybe that little extra cash will come into effect later in the series, later in this half. But for now, they'll have plenty for their 3rd round, but none here. And look at Gizmo! Nefario backs into them, and they pick up a double off of it. Tucked into the corner.
That is some insane trigger discipline. And that is just impressive. As most players, they would just shoot on sight.
Yeah.
But Gizmo, just calm and collected, able to find 2. No, they were just trying to clear out the top. They just wanted the hatches. And they didn't find the hatches. They ended up finding their own lives.
You imagine?
Now, it is an insane stagger.
If there was knives in this game, that would have been a double knife kill.
No, that's disrespectful. That's too disrespectful.
It could have been. I mean, they backed into each other as OnDog finds another kill on the iBlame. It's a 3v3, but not an even one. Aspect are full health and then sitting on objective, while Fusion are down to scraps for their 2 or 3 remaining shooters.
Yeah, now OnDog and just very, very low. Just 1 single bullet, any part of the body will just end them. Now 1 minute and 30 on that clock. They have to decide what to push. They still have the utilities to play with, but it is just very difficult to just win it based on just pure guns.
I think OnDog's role is going to be to distract, try and draw some of the defense away. Really, again, not expecting much out of their 1 HP. But if they can force some rotations, maybe it'll be opportunities for Luna and Tog to work with. A minute left on the clock and a static emitter standing in their way, it seems.
As that static field
Huge.
buying way too much time. That's gonna shave off a good amount of seconds there, and the shots too.
Yep.
Alerting Big Lunch, knowing that there's gonna be at least 1 player between that static field. But on the other side of A, I believe that's a hatch open.
Yeah, they had waited a long time on their rotation. Maybe again a diversion tactic to try and throw them off as OnDog sits here and waits. What is the plan? 20
The
seconds
tactic's
left.
too late though.
Yeah.
They can't commit to this. If they go for it, they're just gonna know. As OnDog immediately shut down nade toss from Luna, they're gonna try this plan, and that actually manages to find Jess. As it's down to a 1v2, Luna is in fact fully healthy, but now Solo and Big Lunch are just gonna swing in and guarantee that 2nd round for them. Solo sticking that defuse, as is still a strong showing coming in from Aspect.
I mean, the double rifle buy paying off big there, obviously, as both rifles.
They still got him.
Yep, they carry through, and it nets them that final kill. You don't really necessarily have the ability to push like that with just a pistol, and so, I mean, you obviously can, but it's more risky. But the confidence there is starting to show in Aspect, and this is more like Map 1. This is more like the 7-3 victory they had opening up this series on Arctic, and less like the 7-1 loss they had on Factory. And if Fusion don't start to get themselves back into things here, especially on this round, the full buy, then they're going to find a tough time. They really need to just, I think, in my opinion, honestly, find 1 round on ship. They don't need much more than that for them to still have a chance at taking this map in the series.
They're going to try and take this map. They're going to have to just make some progress. As they're able to find a couple of picks on these players. They did have to plant. But it's been to the point where if they do get the plant, they end up losing too many players or too much utility, and end up costing them way too much to fully work in their favor.
Yeah.
So they just got to rethink of how they're going to try and approach these situations, especially, that early pick coming in from Gizmo.
Yeah, that was huge. A bit of off meta aggression paying big in the later rounds of a huge series. I mean, again, this is to decide second, maybe even push Aspect closer to that first place role, although Acer, again, still the mountain to climb. But for now, it's not on their minds. For now, they're just looking to lock in a couple of points, and Aspect yet to be pushed in the first 30 seconds and actually finding some good damage just through the walls so far.
Yeah, through the wall. That wall right there, especially on ship, that is pre-fire heaven. If you, it is essentially no man's land the moment you stand behind that wall.
Oh.
As the grenade, that is a beautiful toss. Solo able to find Jet. That is good. A good toss, but both walls are gonna open on this side. As Ondog's able to find I Blame. Now the push there, the proximity alarm being ringed. That someone's behind that roadblocker. Ondog, being his usual roamer, still gonna attempt this flank. Defario able to find one. They're able to take A. Just in that connector, taking down Tog, as it's gonna be a plant.
Yeah.
Coming in from the side of Fusion.
This will be an easy plant too with Nefario covering on the rotation. Jess and Doctor and Ondog. Oh, a team kill over the top. I'm not sure what happened there, but it leaves Ondog and Luna alone to defend against Big Lunch. Full HP and pushing into objective site. Luna will find the kill. And Fusion are on the board. They've got their one offensive round they really need. And now they've got a little bit of control on their belt. I grant, yeah, they've got a little bit of control. They'll be able to pick up 4 rifles onto their side. Maybe actually full buy if they share the wealth around, because they do carry 2 rifles through. And this could be 2-2. This could be them really, honestly, maybe even retaking control of the half, because Aspect are coming out of that loss in a very bad shape. They do not have enough money to buy into this round more than 2 rifles. And if they lose here, they're still going to be in pretty bad shape on their economy. I think they'll have enough for 4 rifles, but it won't be the full buy on their side if they come out with another loss here. So Fusion are looking good off of a big clutch win. I mean, that win really set them up nicely for this half.
Yeah, they have really good economy. They have, they have really good utility as well. So they're just able to just maybe clear out. They get very valuable information. But currently right now, Gizmo trying to roam, but the side of Fusion need to get information first. That's what they're gonna try and do with this drone. They do in fact spot Gizmo. He's gonna get shot through, and that's what the drone does to you. Then they're trying to find it. Only takes out the drone though, but Jet trying to push through, as now they're able to get Boiler.
Trip mines that get identified as well, and Fusion catching all the tricks this time. No early pick, no trip mine kills. Aspect, without finding any of these, are down 5v3. Make it 4v3 as the one scooped up on the backside. I blame my aim. Getting aggressive here. Solo finds one as well. And now there's rifles into the hands of the 3 defenders.
Yeah, full veteran round, but the walls are open on, I believe, on the A side. So that opens up an extra layer for the attackers to choose. But meanwhile, this side of Fusion lose a player. Now it's just going to be difficult to try and take us. Now they have to worry about one extra defender that could be basically anywhere on the map.
I blame in just Jess as Solo goes down. And, I'm realizing that we swapped out Tog for this. Oh, no, Tog's on the other side, sorry. I feel like Jess is maybe a new entry onto the Aspect side, but maybe I haven't been paying attention. Either way, it's the duo here trying to clutch things up on the retake now as the EMP gets planted. Jess gives away the position on this rotate in. Ondog finds 1 of 2, and now they know where the third is. Luna gets caught through the some great shots through the walls there, and Ondog with a quick corner peek will connect onto the head, put Fusion into a tie 2-2. Ooh, I don't know. Maybe we're headed to a 3-3 first half at this rate, but it does feel like Fusion have got good control on offense, no less, on ship, no less. It is a pretty good first half for Fusion right now.
And really strong start. A little bit of kind of uneven ground for the side of Fusion, but now they're fully focused. They still have a good amount of players. Now they're fully coordinating as a team. And now they're just able to go into these rounds with full confidence. They're able to find these very crucial picks before they're able to push inside and staggering that defense. You know, picking the apart one by one, and able to just give Fusion these rounds that they needed.
Big rounds indeed for Fusion, and 2-2 full buy on both sides, but like I said, Aspect only able to afford 4 rifles. Big lunch there with the pistol, buying the rest of the attachments for their team. A unique way of sharing your economy in games like this, but also obviously thanks to VR, because you can toss and share your weapons hand to hand. But Fuse doing a little bit of assessment on the outside here before finally making their way in, and round number 5 kicking off.
So the round is now, we're seeing what Fusion did a bit before, trying to clear out that top area. Now they've basically learned their lesson, but but the mind games are still in effect for the side of Fusion. They're still trying to clear out a couple of they still think that Gizmo is still up here.
I mean, why wouldn't you? They've been a big threat and a successful one at that. Why would that change? And quite frankly, it hasn't really changed. iBlame is still tucked in here on a backside, sort of waiting for this hatch drop to come through.
They expect the hatch drop, but the side of Fusion, they're just trying to, I think they might actually attempt this full clear of the third story before trying to make a push. So they do this, they're gonna buy. They're, I believe, only gonna have nearly a minute left to work with. And if you just lose any player for any reason on nearly any of the bomb sites, that could be your round. And I think it's just something that the side of Fusion, they got to work quickly with.
It's the unheard value of that roamer being successful. You know, yeah, sure, you get a 1-for-1 trade, but you've then put the team on alert. And in future rounds, like we're seeing here, you're buying time so that it's less for them to work with. As Ondog does catch the first kill. Big Lunch goes down on a nice little rotation, and the rest of the team tries to collapse into the objective space, but Gizmo denies at least one of them from rotating in. Turns it into a 4-4, and Fusion weren't maybe quite ready for that sort of action around the objective, but either way, it is maybe now time to work in. Yeah, I mean, there's only a minute left. They don't have infinite amount of time left.
And if they're going to do it, they have to land all their shots. They're going to have to play perfect on their utility. So now Jet and Luna, they're going to be pushing in right into Solo's line of sight. But look how they've made one single footstep. Solo knows they're there. They're going to attempt to shoot that static field. That's going to end up costing Jet. Now Luna pushes on in, knowing that Solo is still there. Actually able to find Solo, but trying to shoulder peek, and does know that iBlame is inside the cafeteria. Gizmo still, that's the beauty of having a roamer. iBlame able to find Tog, immediately dropping as it is just an awkward gunfight for the last player as Jess takes down Nefario, as that's going to be the round lead before they head into this final round of the first half.
It started off so good for Fusion. Ondog kind of coming in, finding the kill. I think if they hadn't pressed the aggression and picked up that kill and dropped back, it could have been a very different story. But in their attempts to sort of push forward off of a kill, they'll get picked up by Gizmo, and then that resets the sort of pace there for that Aspect defense. They come back nicely, and ultimately a good hold from them with Nade's utility coming in. I mean, almost another Nade kill there through the hatch. I think Solo came down to about 15 or 20 HP off of that, but it's all about utility at the end of the day. And in today's game, it really feels like some good shots are being connected on for sure, but the nade kills and even the static emitter there being an MVP, you know, giving away their position, prompting Solo to pop up, find that kill on that sort of aggressive defensive position again. And aggression seems to be really is what is working for Aspect, and I don't anticipate that to change. Fusion are trying to read the aggression the best they can, but with Gizmo right here, are they going to be ready for it? The drone doesn't get any info, and Nade gets tossed out. That keeps Ondog off of entering through the door window, and Gizmo this time, learning from their mistakes and dying early last round, have dropped back to defend a little bit.
Gizmo play a line of sights, but They're trying to open up the windows. They're still playing a little bit more cautious, maybe just blocking off, knowing that there are still roamers around. They haven't been able to just find it particularly, but you have I Blame there playing as that lower floor, as that main roam, especially on the green stairs. The side of Fusion, they're actually going to be split here.
Be a matter of time before OnDog and I Blame connect on these stairs. And this is something OnDog's been doing. Really been separating from the rest of the team, and it's kind of like a 4-1 split to some degree. Trying to send OnDog into the back to either draw a defender or two away and give the advantage to the attacking side, or just find some kills on the back. Nefario will open up that door blocker, tosses another nade onto I Blame, but I Blame able to avoid that. Albeit briefly, as Fusion now sort of pausing. A minute 30 left, still haven't entered into A site.
Yeah, and that is so much time wasted. They still have 5 players, so they're able to just maybe take this push and work it. It's in a certain way. It's Big Lunch on the other side, on B, just tossing a incendiary, just buying some time, maybe denying OnDog. But the overall push is going to be on this A side as I Blame finds 2, but immediately traded out by Nefario. Freaking foam charge on the sidewall, so easily shutting down Luna. Down to what looks like a 5v4 to a 3v2.
Just like that, nades and hatches opening up and kicking things off, and A site seems to be the play as more trip mines detonated there that time. A nice bit of utility again to stall out what is a limited clock here. 45 seconds left for Fusion to try and work forward into this objective space, and they're not having an easy time with it as OnDog is alone. Solo finds the kill, looking for a double, doesn't quite catch it. 30 seconds left. This is the final round of the half, so no point in saving. It's OnDog here trying to clutch the 1v3.
1v3, maybe trying to shoot down that door blocker, maybe just trying to bait a player that tries to get too aggressive. But 15 seconds left, you're going to have to just swing onto this. You swing, you run into Solo's bullets, as that is 4-2, and we're heading to the second half. As Aspect, they're going to have this big momentum boost.
Oh yeah, that is huge to lock in that front half like that on, well, still though, 2 rounds for Fusion could be enough. 2 attacking rounds does feel like a decent amount on ship. If they can put up a good defensive set themselves, and they've got this series locked down, it's really going to come down to the early. This is, I wouldn't say a free round, but it's going to be the best opportunity for Aspect to get that foot in the door. This pistol round right here. If they can win here, then they can buy in big to the second round, have an advantage. It's an opportunity you don't get, obviously, with a round 1 loss, and they can't afford to lose 3 rounds. So it all comes down to this for the Fusion defense and for Aspect on the attack. As we do again, swap sides, reset economy, and like we've been saying, go back to those pistols as the sort of default weapon. The great equalizer, as it's been called by some of these teams, Heritage, the pistol round.
Yeah, the pistol round can make or break your entire game, and see the side of Aspect. They're going to clear this top floor before they try and push into this lower bomb site. So they're going to be setting up for these breaching foam on that kitchen hatch. That's going to be open wide. That cuts off a good amount of what the side of Fusion are able to do. Grenade toss, maybe clearing out a couple of players, but ends up going a bit too far out.
Big Man, Nefario, and OnDog are all here in B, waiting for the hatch drop, and Luna on that off angle watching for the stair rotation. Aspect not finding anything on that nade. Seems like that was sort of the maybe prompt for them to push. If they had found a kill, they would have dove down, but they didn't. And so we're into a bit of an awkward sort of holding pattern here with 2 minutes left and 5 alive on both sides. And I do kind of wonder if Fusion are maybe thinking about getting a little counter aggression, as OnDog and Tog are close enough to these stairs to rotate up.
Yeah, question is, are they going to commit to this? Are they going to try and make this rotate and be catch a player off? OnDog has that grenade primed, but if he does make that attempt to toss it, it's going to find no one.
Yeah.
as now 1 minute and 30 on that clock. The side of Aspect, they're gonna be, I believe, at the way it looks like, they're gonna just drop into kitchen and they're gonna try and drop it to B.
Certainly does seem to be the setup. That hatch again opened very early in this round, and I don't know, where is the defense? I think it's OnDog has a nade in hand. And
That's the only grenade they have.
As soon as the hatch comes in, here's the nade, tossed to the back, and it's too slow. The rest of the offense, Aspect flies past it, picks up a double, and Tog's left alone and dead. As Aspect overwhelmed Fusion entirely. With a limited clock left there, I think there's maybe 30 seconds on it. They come flying in, and well, that's one way here, Taj, to come out screaming with your first pistol round. I mean, now they're going to be able to buy pretty nicely into round 2.
Yeah, they're going to be able to get at least a good amount of these pheasants into play. As the side of
3.
I think it could be 3. It's going to be 3. But yeah, Fusion, maybe just is
4.
that they've had I think a pretty good defense.
Yeah.
It's just that it's just that Aspect has been doing a little bit of something unexpected compared to their normal play style, where they just play conservatively. So now they just rather just four stack on that hatch and just drop in and just straight up spread out, and that's able to just get them that round. Now they just need 2 more rounds.
Very clearly planned and, coordinated in advance. I think that's the one thing that stands out when Aspect takes wins like that. It is their coordination. They're synced up on that drop down and split, like you said, 2 onto both sides, and both of them get their kills. So that's really what's impressed me there from Aspect out the gate. They are looking good in this final map here, and they're just 2 points away from taking the series.
Yeah, they're able to drop into the pilot area, but now they just need to start to set up. But if you look at the side of Fusion, they have a lot less firepower to work with. OnDog's actually able to find I Blame. Where even was that?
I don't know. But it works out quite nicely. Sets them up for the 4v5. Puts a rifle into OnDog's hand instead of an SMG. Oh, no, they still have the SMG, so maybe they weren't able to get it. Beautiful headshot from Solo there, and half health quickly healed to full. A huge kill. Jess fighting through the wall for some ground as Gizmo will find the connection there. Big Lunch going to open things up now with a slight advantage, and oh, what a nice little peek on the backside through the window, almost catching Jess out. But not quite. Here comes the A entry. Gizmo barreling in, and Tog fending things off. Big man here holding things down as OnDog swings around to the backside, and Aspect get picked apart. Rifles down, but not into the hands just yet of this defense. Big Lunch still has the gun advantage into a 1v1 against OnDog with an SMG in their hands.
Yeah, if you're OnDog here, I think just maybe back up, but OnDog peeks. And OnDog gets bodied. Now it's gonna be series point for Aspect. They just need 1 more round, and I'm not sure. And that economy does not look great for the side of Fusion.
That was huge
now,
for
it is
Aspect.
gonna be difficult.
A massive pickup there. A big clutch OnDog nearly coming out with an SMG kill. But yeah, that's solid shooting again. Pay attention. They're hitting their shots. Yeah, this is so much more than just a 2D shooter. To be able to hit your shots in VR is a skill set in and of itself that we don't hone in on a lot. But when you do see teams at the top like this, you see really good shots. And that was another really good one. We've seen a couple of very good clutch kills. You also will see them sort of using that blind fire a lot more liberally when they're pushing corners and stuff, trying to get a bit of an advantage on those corner rotations. And we've seen a lot of it so far on this map in particular with these close quarter fights. But it's all gun skill at the end of the day that's honed in on with hours and hours of practice, and you get to see it on display here when we tune into number 2 and number 3 NA battling it out.
Now they're just trying to go in. Aspect, knowing that there's going to be at least 1 potential roamer, as that drone does go down a bit early. OnDog able to find Jess, but without immediately get hit with that trade, as that's the roamer that is primarily your main roamer gone. They're out of the play.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a lot more difficult to just maybe play defense. You have Navarro, who's going to play a little bit of an off angle away from that site. But the side of Aspect, they're still doing great. They're able to find at least one of these hatches. But I don't think that's going to be a good idea to drop through.
Solo staying true to the name and being solo over here on this top floor. Does, like you say, get that foam onto the hatch to get ready to split the attention of this defense. They really have to play into their advantage, though. I think that's sometimes the hardest thing to do. That's why we see eco rounds go the way of the ecoer, of the team that has pistols or SMGs in their hands, is because it can be hard to play into your advantage. Some teams do it well, and it feels like they're steamrolling over their opponent. But sometimes it can be a challenge, and obviously against these top teams, it's a challenge as we do get into what could be the last round of this series. Aspect looking to lock this thing in. They've taken map number 1, 7-3. They lost map 2 pretty handily to Fusion 7-1, but they've gotten control here, and they're just a point away from getting a series W, giving Fusion their second loss all season and putting their record up 5-2.
And it's just time before they're able to move towards the bomb site. Now, the static field buying a good amount of time, but it's going to be a full push from that side of Aspect. That tripwire near that A hatch is actually costing a lot of time for the side of Aspect. They know they can't drop through it, but they're going to be starting to set up for that breaching foam for A. Stefano there in that corner, just trying to not budge. Smoke toss.
35 seconds.
This could be a push. It's 35 seconds. They're going to drop through. Solo able to find Luna, but it's going to be a full firefight through that smoke. It's down to Tog and Fuse, but Big Man tries to beat that last savior, as it's not going to happen. Aspect keep 4, and that is the series 2-1 in total maps. As Aspect, they're still showing that they're still a top team despite, that really rough loss against Acer.
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta try and practice for Acer, and at this stage, that certainly looks like Aspect are practice. They're looking good. They had a rough go there on map 2 against for Fusion, going 7-1, but again, great job of staying in it, fighting for their defensive set, not giving Fusion too much of a foot into the door, and then clutching up some big round wins into the back half of that final map. A hard-fought victory from the Aspect squad, and a fun series to tune into this afternoon here, Taj. A shout out to everyone stopping by, and a quick shout out to the remainder of our sponsors. Obviously, HyperX coming in with high quality gear that you're hearing me on, and also for our champions, which we'll be hand delivering to those folks at the at the convention. So you'll be getting your gear right as you win. A beautiful thing for VRML Con 2024. And also a shout out to ProTube VR, another sponsor for VRML, a longtime sponsor. They offer fantastic stocks that help stabilize your aim in any VR game. All sorts of variety of stocks, from comfort stocks to force feedback versions. So do go, please check them out. Again, that's ProTube VR. Use code ILOVEVRML at checkout for a 10% discount. We'd really appreciate that as support. And I do believe that's the short list. Thank you all for tuning in, hanging out, and enjoying this afternoon. It's been a fun one. My name is Ben Nightfire with 2 E's. My co-caster Hair Taj with just 1. We will see you all, I think, tomorrow for another exciting game tomorrow night. But until then, stay classy. Futures VRML is brought to you by Helga, the esports manager.